What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And as y'all know, if you've been following along with the channel, I've been combing through the ADP for the month of May, giving you buys, giving you sells, and today I'm giving you some sells on the wide receiver position. I'm going to be giving you 3 wide receivers that you can pump out in the market of your leagues if you want to. Some of these guys you may not want to, or you don't think you'll get a good return on investment with. That's all right, but these are just suggestions, different ways you can look at these players. And next month I'll have some more buys and sells coming at you when ADP drops. One thing I like to do when making these videos is look at the trade finder at dynastyleaguefootball.com. The trade finder pulls actual trades that happen from my fantasy league, and those trades are real. And if a trade happens multiple times for a player, that's an indication that multiple leagues are valuing this player at a certain light. Also, I like to point out interesting trades that seem possible or on the high end. That way, I can get your guys' brains going so you guys can be creative with your trades. It gives you different things to look at. Also like to cover the ADP and all that stuff when I talk about buying and selling players. So that's something you want to pay attention to. But with that being said, let's look at the 3 wide receivers that we're selling right now. The first wide receiver on this list is an older veteran, but he was very productive last season. He's very expensive in ADP, holds some value on the trade market. This might be one of the last times we're going to be able to sell him at a certain price. He may be productive this year. I don't see why he shouldn't be. But the bomb's going to have to fall out sooner than later. The bad news has to start rolling. But we want to sell some of these players a year early, not a year too late. If you can't get a deal done with this dude, enjoy the production. If you're a rebuilding team, he should be already off your roster. You should have already dealt him away. But if he's still on your roster, now's the time to start looking. I'm going to help you out with that. The guy I'm talking about today is Kupp, wide receiver from the Rams. Currently has an ADP of 9. So on average in startup drafts, he's a 9th player off the board overall. And he's the wide receiver 4 on average, which is very high for a wide receiver who's getting ready to turn 29 years old. As we all know, he was very productive last year. 15 RB1 weeks. 14 games with over 20 PPR fantasy points, a 32% target share, 32% share of the air yards, 806 yards after the catch, 3.12 yards per route run. Allen Robinson is there now. Is he going to eat into some of that target share? Is he going to eat into some of that air yard share? We're going to have to find out. Is Father Time going to start setting in on Kupp? Is that going to happen sooner? Is that going to happen later? What is that going to happen? But what we do know is we have an asset here with Kupp that is pricey, that you can just sell and get a lot of return on the investment. If you want to hold them and enjoy the production, that's cool too. But on the trade finder, this is what I'm finding out. One trade, Nick Chubb, Damian Harris. I think that one's kind of yucky. I'm not all in on it, but 2 firsts, a second, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tom Brady. Kind of like the return on that one. Elijah Moore in a first, so you're getting back some wide receiver production and a first-round pick. Gabe Davis, a first and a second, so you're getting back some wide receiver production, a first-round pick and a second. Juju Smith-Schuster in a first, 2 first-round picks, Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith. That one's pricey. The 108, and so on. Pretty much with Kupp, you can name your price. If you're dealing Kupp in your league and the trade offers are coming back and you're not sold on them, you're iffy on them, don't make the deal. But if you can get 2 firsts and a little extra, if you can get 2 firsts and a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'll take that all day. If I can get 2 firsts and Gabe Davis, if I can get a first and Juju, 2 firsts, Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith, these trades that are going down, I like them. 2 firsts seems like the starter point here, the starter pack, the deal Kupp, and then you want a little bit of extra on that. You want 2 firsts and some frosting. You name your frosting, you name what you want, but two first is the foundation of your trade pyramid. The second wide receiver I'm talking about today, and I love this guy. I love this. He is one of my guys. I talk about him a lot. Last year, I put out more videos on this guy than any player in fantasy football, and it pains me to talk about him in this light. He is one of my favorites. He is a guy that I'm buying. He's the guy that I'm looking to deal some of my first-round rookie picks away for, especially once I get in the no man's land in the first round, that back half. But I have to tell you about the market on him and look at him at a different light to where you may want to offset some of this to get back some capital. And if I didn't do this, then I'd just be a scam artist talking about just the guys I like. I need to tell you about these players on both sides. I love this player. I think he's very good. I'm personally buying him in some leagues, but the market is pretty juicy here, and it's only going to go up between now and the start of redraft season. I'm talking about August when those redraft leagues start drafting. I'm talking about Rashod Bateman, wide receiver of the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, he holds an ADP of 45.67, so around 45th overall off the board on average. On average, the wide receiver 22. Decent discount for a guy who's the wide receiver one for his team as of right now. Marquise Brown is gone, along with his 137 targets and 27% target share. Bateman had some big moments last year. He made some big plays. They looked upon him to make things happen. They had some quarterback issues. If you don't remember last year, a lot of injuries at the quarterback position. His main competition is Mark Andrews, the tight end there, the veteran, one of the best tight ends in the league. This has to bump up his price in some leagues. Last year, had a 17% target share, 8.9 average depth of target, 18% share of the air yards, 1.26 yards per route run, 3.7 yards after the catch per reception. We should see that target share bump up a bit, that ADOT bump up a bit, considering Marquise Brown's gone to take away those deep shots. So Bateman's going to have to get some of those. I want to see that yards after the catch increase. That 3.7 isn't cutting it for me. If that doesn't increase for me, that's going to kill his upside a little bit because we need those chunk plays. We need that ADOT to come up a little bit. We need that target share to come up a little bit, which it should naturally, considering he's a very talented wide receiver, very crisp, very nuanced, and Marquise Brown's gone. Competition's almost gone. So there's a very good chance he improves this season. There's a very good chance he improves on some of this efficiency metrics. I like him a lot personally, but the value is what we're talking about today. Trades-wise, 102 off the trade market. So if you like some of the other wide receivers, like the top guys, I'm talking about the Drake Londons, the Treylon Burks, the Garrett Wilsons, or you want Kenneth Walker, you need that running back. The 102 he's been dealt with for. A lot of people are using him to package up to get to that top tier players. I'm talking about those top tier running backs, putting picks together. Other players try to get those Jonathan Taylors, those DeAndre Swifts, those top tier wide receivers, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons. They're putting him into deals, adding another player and some picks, or using him as the part of that grandioso package to get that deal done, and I can see why they are doing that because he's holding some value right now, and he can be that stepping stone along with some other pebbles that get you to those players. Also, straight up Derrick Henry, straight up Cam Akers. He's also used the packaged up to get to the 101. He's also used the packaged up to get higher in the first round, maybe from the back end of the first to the top part of the first, or from the second to mid to early part of that first round. Straight up for Antonio Gibson, straight up for Elijah Moore. He gives you a lot of versatility on the trade market, and you can use him to get what you want if you're creative and if you're in a league that really trades. Some leagues don't trade. Some leagues doesn't allow it to happen. The trade market for Rashod Bateman should only increase and get better as we get closer to redraft season because a lot more people are going to start talking him up. The third wide receiver I'm going to talk about today is another player that the market likes, but he's kind of slipped back a little bit. Earlier this offseason, there was a lot of hype around him. There's a lot of hype around him at the end of last season. He was a rookie last year. really showed up. Technically, you can call him a discount too. He could be a buy in some leagues. He can also be a sell. He could be a guy you want to pivot away from. He's on both spectrums, really. Rashod Bateman's kind of on both spectrums if you look at it the right way. But this guy's also on both spectrums. I'm going to say he's a buy and a sell, but we're going to look at him as a sell right now in this scenario and look at the trade offers, look at the market, and then I'm giving you ideas, see what you can do. And I'm talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. Went off last year, and that causes the ADP to go up. Right now, he has an ADP of 62.83, so 62 to 65 on average off the board overall. Wide receiver 32. Decent price, decent value, not too bad in startup drafts for a younger wide receiver. I like him. I liked him coming out of college. But sometimes you got to call a spade and see if the market's hot on a player and see what you can do to get more assets. 21% target share last year, 6.9 average depth of target, 21% share of the air yards. This is when he was booming. Finished the season with 5 wide receiver 1 weeks, while DeAndre Swift and TJ Hockenson were out off and on. Hockenson had a 21% target share and 7.3 average depth of target. Swift had a 19% target share and 5.9 average depth of target. Those two are his main competition because they're going to eat up those short to intermediate targets. They're going to get that volume, and that's going to be competition for Amon-Ra St. Brown, but that's been beaten to death, and that's why he's wide receiver 32 in startup drafts. That's why he's not wide receiver 25. That's not why he's not wide receiver 20, because he is a younger wide receiver who had 5 wide receiver 1 weeks as a rookie. So in light of that, you can say that he's a buy. However, in light of the competition here with Hockenson and Swift coming back, hashtag DeAndre Swift in the comments right now if you're buying him in Dynasty Fantasy Football, because I think he has a lot of upside and there's going to be some videos coming out on him. But there's more competition here too. They added DJ Chark to stretch the field as the field stretching veteran, and then they drafted Jameson Williams. They traded up for him. He's got some speed, elite after the catch ability. He could develop nicely. He could develop into the key passing target in the offense. He could develop into the target hog. And if he becomes the target hog, and then you got DeAndre Swift and Hockenson eating up targets, what's the upside for Amon-Ra St. Brown? If he's getting short to intermediate targets, you're not getting a ton of yards after the catch. And we're competing with Jameson Williams for air yards, those deep ball plays. That makes him a potential sell if you got buyers in your league. If you don't, you may want to hold and see what happens. But the Trade Finder is letting us know that he is a package up piece. You use him with some picks, with some players, and you try and get a better wide receiver. Maybe like an Elijah Moore, maybe that Rashod Bateman. Maybe use him to package up and some more picks and some more players, and you go all in, you get your Jamar Chase, however you do it, but he's that player that is a stepping stone, kind of like how Rashod Bateman is, but he's a little bit back further in value, but you can use him to move up in your draft. Say you want to higher first-round pick, you want to get one of those rookies, use him, a pick, maybe a little something on top, get your guy. Amon-Ra St. Brown can be that stepping stone for that. You could use him straight up or with some picks to get you a running back that's a little cheaper, or one of those third or second tier running backs that you can trade for. His value and 1-for-1 deals are kind of dead on the Trade Finder. Like, you're not seeing many good deals when it's him straight up for another player. But when it comes to packages where he's used as a stepping stone to get packaged up, or just a bigger trade to get more pieces, he is a part of a lot of those. And I can see why, because he does have some value, but it's hard to count on him as a standalone asset since there's some risk here in his production profile, considering the competition in Detroit and the way this team's transitioning. He's a good wide receiver. He's definitely going to be good for the NFL game. The competition here, the offense here, the transitioning here might not allow him to be a gusto fantasy producer, but Amon-Ra St. Brown does have some goods. If he can type into that upside, he may be something for you. I look at him as both a buy and a sell. But let me know what you think in the comments. Are you buying any of these players? Are you selling any of these players? What are you doing? What wide receivers are on your Rolodex to sell? Who are you unloading? Smash that like button. Help that video out on the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? I'm here to help you with your dynasty teams. Here to help you with rookie drafts. I'm going to be helping you in season, lineups, looking at these younger players, film reviews, whatever's coming up. I'm your guy. Hit that subscribe button. But I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.